Let me set the scene for you. The year is 2004. A 6-year-old me has just gotten his first computer with a box monitor, a tan case that had a floppy disk insert, and a tan keyboard that matched the rest of the computer. While dated, this computer still brought me some of my first gaming experiences. One of those first games was Spider-Man, released by Neversoft, now referred to as Spider-Man 2000. This game was probably one of my first introductions to the webhead and is still one of my favorite games to this day. Spider-Man 2000 was the first of the Spider-Man games to be 3D instead of 2D. Since then, we have gotten fantastic iterations of the web slinger, we have gotten some average to subpar games, and we have gotten some terrible cash grab movie tie-ins. With every new game, it comes the inevitable question of will this one be the best Spider-Man game and beat the previous best Spider-Man game? Some people have some different opinions on what that previous best Spider-Man game is. Some say that no Spider-Man game has been able to beat Spider-Man 2 that came out 15 years ago. Others say no Spider-Man game has been able to beat Spider-Man Web of Shadows that came out 11 years ago. For me personally, no Spider-Man game has been able to beat Ultimate Spider-Man that came out 14 years ago. We then arrive at E3 2016 when during the PlayStation conference, a little reveal trailer was released from the company that made Sunset Overdrive and Ratchet & Clank, Insomniac. As everyone knows, that little trailer was for Marvel's Spider-Man, or as others called it, Spider-Man PS4. Fast forward 2 years through all the hype and trailers, and on September 7th, 2018, the game was released. With that also came the question that everybody always wants to know, is this the best Spider-Man game? Does it beat Spider-Man 2? The question I am asking today, is Marvel's Spider-Man a winner or sinner? Since Peter Parker is 23 in this universe, he's obviously been Spider-Man for a while. I appreciate the fact that this opening pan of the camera shows what those last 8 years were like. From the opening shot of the Spider to things like his old police scanner or old web shooter designs, we're even shown some of the enemies that he has fought so far in his career. I also appreciate the fact that Insomniac is not afraid to show that this game is set in a larger Marvel universe right off the bat with references to Tony Stark and Reed Richards. Wait, so you're telling me that he put his web shooters on just to web up a piece of toast and ruin it, and then he took them back off so he could put on his costume? For a guy that's trying to go fast, that seems really counterintuitive.
SWAT is 1084 at Fisk Tower. All units stand by. Warrant is en route.
That was badass.
Get the chopper ready. I won't be long.
Honestly, after watching Vincent D'Onofrio beautifully play Kingpin on Daredevil, I didn't think I was really going to like this version, but I've got to hand it to Travis Willingham, who voiced as Kingpin. He brings that chilling calmness that Fist always has, even when he's losing. Great job to him. Also, RIP Daredevil. Look, I get boss fights are hard to make for these kinds of games, but the whole 3-phase rinse and repeat boss fights are so boring. Unfortunately, that's how most of the boss fights are in this game. Good old quick time events. Enough said. At this point, you can literally hear me nerding out at the fact that Peter Parker is working for Doc Ock. Well, this is boring.
Welcome to Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson.
Okay, so not for nothing. You gotta give Spider-Man respect for taking down Wilson Fisk, right? I mean, one less mob boss is good for everyone.
Is that right? Tell me, are you a police officer?
No, I'm a plumber.
Oh, good. Then fix my toilet and shut up! Let me explain something to you about crime.
Throughout the game, you can hear this podcast by J. Jonah Jameson where he just complains about what you're doing. I think this was a great way of adding JJ into the game without actually having him there.
Now I'm seeing an assault near you.
You're in luck, Yuri. Your favorite tough but lovable, grizzled, seen-too-much detective is in town.
What? No. You promised you wouldn't do that
Spider Cop.
Please, no.
I get that some people think the whole Spider Cop thing is a little over the top, but that's what Spider-Man is. His jokes are so over the top to being annoying, and that's one of the things that makes him Spider-Man. Spider-Man's webbing does not connect to both the bad guy's face and the gun. This game has been out for so long, and this never got fixed.
One of my old backpacks from high school. Forgot I attached tracking dots to these.
Nerd fact number 1. In almost all incarnations of Spider-Man, his webbing dissolves in about 1 to 2 hours, which means if it's been here since high school, it's physically impossible for this backpack to still be webbed to the side of this building.
Parker, Dr. Octavius, what you got there?
Chinese. If I know you'd be here, I would have... What are you working on?
Oh, just a side project.
Of course. It's you.
I don't know what
Oh,
you're...
come on, Parker, it's obvious.
Let me explain.
I only wish you'd told me sooner.
I wanted to, but I was afraid that if word got out, my family might be in danger.
Yes. I guess if you design his equipment, you're bound to be a target too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, I have a big problem with the narrative here. The game is trying to make me believe that Dr. Otto Octavius, one of the most brilliant minds in the Marvel Universe, just thinks that Peter Parker is Spider-Man's suit crafter. It's also trying to make me believe that Peter Parker is dumb enough to think that Otto just thinks that he is Spider-Man's suit crafter. Since this is such a key emotional moment later on in the game, I would have hoped that Otto would have found out that Peter was Spider-Man in a different way.
Excuse me, late for work!
I actually really like Insomniac's Spidey suit. It still has a classic feel to it, and the additions to it like the white spider really make it come together. It's cool that this game has a unique Spidey design all to itself. So for the next hour of the game, I went around and unlocked all these radio towers. I hate it when these synchronization points just hide whole parts of the map. If these are included in games, then I feel like they should just hide the activities in the area until they are unlocked, but don't blur out the entire map. On the plus side, while I was swinging around, I really got a feel for both the combat and the swinging. When I first started the game, I felt that the controls were a little clunky, but in reality, there's actually a learning curve to both the combat and the swinging. Granted, it's a small learning curve, but no other Spider-Man game has made me feel this before. Once you get the hang of the swinging, you really start to use everything that it has to offer. From the swinging, zipping, diving, wall running, and point launching, everything comes together in such a fluid combination. I feel like I could swing around the city for hours and never get tired of it. I'm not afraid to admit that I think it's better than Spider-Man 2's swinging. While in that game, all I ever did was use the swinging, in this game, I use everything that is offered to me. The same thing could be said about the combat in this game. While I was worried that it was going to be a button mashing mess, it actually turned out to be a fun and interactive combat system. I think a lot of other developers didn't know what to do with webbing in combat until Insomniac came along. The webbing in the game is such an integral part of the combat, and it's what makes it stand out from other games. The gadget wheel also adds some fun variation to combat and shows how Peter uses his intelligence to overcome his enemies.
Thanks again for setting all this up.
Oh, I just wish I could do more.
Well, May's always told me if you help someone.
You help everyone. Maybe we should send May to City Hall to have a word with the mayor.
Man, Martin Lee is such a likable character just from this conversation. That's why it's so hard to see his downfall into Mr. Negative. This conversation gives a glimpse of that downfall from his comment about the mayor.
Well, stop wondering. After losing my parents and Uncle Ben, there are so many times I would have fallen apart if not for you.
Alright, this is when I noticed something insanely cool that they did with the voice acting for this game. Whenever Spider-Man gets a call while he's swinging around, he sounds like he's physically exerting himself, which makes sense. However, if Spider-Man were on the ground, then the call would sound normal. That means every line of dialogue had to be recorded twice to achieve this. Mad respect to Yuri Lowenthal, who voices Peter Parker in this game, for putting in the extra time to record everything twice. Look, I'm gonna be brutally honest about the stealth gameplay, it's just not good. One of the things that I hate most in games is where there's forced stealth in a non-stealth game. It makes it even worse when the stealth is just not good. Another problem with having this in the game is that it brings the pacing to a screeching halt. When playing as Spider-Man, you get to swing around the city and take down criminals quickly. Then you get sent into a stealth section with MJ or a future character, and it's just so boring because you know that you could be playing as Spider-Man right now.
Excuse me, sir, you can't be...
Guys with scary looking masks and guns walk in and you try to tell them that they can't be there. Yeah, alright lady, good luck with that one.
I just talked to Craig. You are not the reporter he was sending. You don't even work for Heritage Arts.
Never said I did. Hi, Mary Jane Watson, Daily Bugle.
Nerd fact number 6. In the comics, Mary Jane is usually some sort of actress or model. This game changed it up to make her more of a Lois Lane type. I have mixed feelings about this because I think it was a good way of including her into the story without just making her a damsel in distress. However, making her a reporter kind of changes the core of her character. Mary Jane has always hated the danger that has come with being the girlfriend of Spider-Man. It's actually what drives them apart a lot of the time. Making her an investigative journalist takes that away because now she runs towards the danger as opposed to wanting nothing to do with it. With that being said, I'm going to give this both a win and a sin.
Love seeing you two together again. You always were my favorites.
I am so glad that Stan Lee got his cameo in this game before he passed away. You will forever be missed. Oh, and now we have the classic chase mission where the villain speeds up to Mach 2 whenever you get close to them until the game decides to let you catch them.
This isn't about safety infractions, is it?
I'm trying to help you, Otto. You're free to continue your work in a secure environment.
At Oscorp.
You always were the smartest guy in the room.
You haven't changed a bit.
Neither of you.
The first time that we are introduced to Norman in person and he is already the biggest jerk in the room. Good old Norman Osborn.
By the way, how much of a mess did you make inside that bank?
You probably don't want to know.
Shouldn't have asked.
The relationship between Yuri and Spider-Man is a nice surprise because of moments like these. I enjoy the back and forth that they have, even if it could be argued that they're just trying to copy what Batman and Commissioner Gordon have.
You know we can't have vigilantes trespassing or doing illegal searches.
Yeah, I know.
Which is why I brought a warrant. So what do you say we do some perfectly legal searching?
I like the sound of that. What's your name?
Officer Davis. Call me Jeff.
I like that they introduced Jefferson Davis first. It's a nice reference for people that know the comics and a lead up into a different character that I am so excited for. Jefferson Davis is a badass. This mission is actually really cool because I think that Jeff and Spider-Man have some good chemistry. What? What do you mean I shouldn't get used to it? Oh.
Excuse me, miss. Are you...
Well, it's still a win anyway.
More than you.
Come on.
Empire Sanitation, this is Eddie.
Yeah, hi. I'm trying to track down some items that were accidentally picked up from a dumpster outside my apartment.
Dumpster number?
Municipal garage. Bowery and Grand. Not a problem. I don't care if I lose everything else, but I have to find my Spidey drive. Can't be that hard. Finding a tiny flash drive in a 30-ton garbage truck. I have years of research on that drive. Everything I've worked on since high school.
This is probably my favorite mission in the entire game because of the fact that only Spider-Man would find himself in this situation. Not only that, but it also helps to ground the game in reality and lets audiences relate to Peter Parker in a way that they never could with the likes of Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark. Spider-Man has always been amazing at doing precisely that.
Jeff, I'm here.
What do you see?
Find the rest. The boss wants them dead.
Looks like the demons are moving in on Fisk's territory.
You got this?
I got this.
This is another favorite mission of mine because it's paced really well. You start with some slow stealth, then go around the building saving Fisk thugs from the demons. This leads into some action set piece with a crane followed by the helicopter with a wrecking ball chase. Which, yeah, it's another chase mission, but it's a helicopter with a wrecking ball. That's pretty insane. It ends with another big action set piece involving the helicopter. This mission is just pure adrenaline-induced fun. Also, we get the big reveal of your boy Miles Morales at the end of this mission.
You got this, Dad. I mean, come on, you saved Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure that makes you an official superhero.
A superhero. Or maybe I'm just a guy who doesn't give up.
This idea of never giving up from Jeff sets up the next scene so perfectly, but makes me so sad at the same time. Here's where we see Jeff never giving up to save people, even if it means his own life. That is a true hero right there. Oh joy, more stealth gameplay. Nerd fact number 13. In Miles' comic book origin, it's actually his mother that dies from a cop's stray bullet while the police and Miles were fighting Venom. It was probably smart to change it up and make it his dad because that's more relatable to Peter and Uncle Ben. Yeah, I'm starting to think that his spider sense just works when it wants to.
But the bombers are still out there. Who knows what they've planned next?
I don't think you or May have anything to worry about. As long as you stay away from places you're not supposed to be.
Well, Martin Lee basically just told Peter to stay out of his way or get hurt. For being such a nice guy before, he can also be damn scary.
Seems you and Norman have a bit of a history.
We were lab partners in college. Became friends. Decided to start a business. We both had visions of changing the world, just in different ways.
Wait, you were at Oscorp when it started?
I'm half the reason it's called Oscorp. In grad school, everyone called us the O's. Add Corp to that, and, well, it is a catchy name.
Well, why'd you leave?
Norman became more and more obsessed with genetics. He started a project I considered unethical. And there was this... Anyway, lawyers got involved. I chose to leave in exchange for a settlement.
The backstory changes to Otto working with Norman when Oscorp first started is an interesting one. It's even more interesting when we learn that he left because of Oscorp's unethical experiments. The game almost gives you a false sense of hope that Otto might turn out to be a good guy, even though we all know deep down that he won't be.
Hey, it's your crime system thingy. Looks like a residential break-in.
Charles Standish.
That sounds familiar. Oh, Oscorp CFO. Wait, you don't think this has anything to do with Lee, do you?
Sorry to cook and run.
Did you just leave your clothes on the kitchen floor?
I honestly don't know.
Down!
Look, Spidey, you may be able to dodge that with your powers, but you just threw Standish to the floor with no cover. That dude would be dead.
Oh no, smoke. Whatever will I do?
This is the end for you, Spider-Man. Now I have you.
Hey, what's wrong with you? I worked on that helmet for a week.
I need to find Dr. Delaney.
He's out in the party somewhere. Who are you?
I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Smartass.
What? You just saw this dude do an insane flip and web your helmet, and you don't think he's Spider-Man?
Hey, look, it's Spider-Boy. Isn't someone of your nemesises? We gotta fight.
Maybe later.
Oh, what's the matter, Spider-Wimp? You afraid of my mighty horde?
Hey, what are you? Come on! Hey, fight! Kick his ass, Spider-Man!
What the hell?
Oh, snap!
Man, there are like 20 other Spider-Man at this party, and you chose the real Spider-Man to fight. That's some bad luck, Discount Rhino. Well, that's sick.
Thank you.
No!
You know, I feel like Lee would have to tell Delaney to shoot himself. It's not like he knows what Lee wants. I really like this mission overall because it's a cool way of including some other villains without actually including them, but I wish some people at the party were just as Iron Man or Captain America to really show that this is a bigger Marvel universe. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Norman, you are the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company and your computer is not password protected? On top of that, you leave the PowerPoint presentation on Devil's Breath open for anyone to see. Somebody fire this man.
GR27 is Devil's Breath. It's designed to cure diseases, but in its current form, it's like a bioweapon.
Mate, if you were trying to make a cure for all diseases and ended up with a highly lethal and contagious bioweapon, then I think it's time to start from scratch. Look, I know you may think that I have sinned the stealth gameplay enough, but no. No, I have not. Oh yeah, the foreshadowing is real and I love it.
My doctors call it a degenerative neurological disorder. Probably caused by overexposure to toxic chemicals in my reckless youth.
Sorry, is there anything I can do?
You already are. The worst part is, it only affects the muscles. The mind continues to work, but it can no longer do.
Wow, I did not see that one coming. I guess it makes sense why he's so adamant on not just making replacement limbs, but adding more limbs in general. Nerd fact number 24, Otto created his tentacles in the comics to help him with his more dangerous experiments. With this game having the reason being that Otto is losing control of his muscles, it makes more sense for him to create his tentacles and makes the player empathize with why he's making them.
You're Spider-Man. You're the amazing Spider-Man. You're the spectacular Spider-Man.
And a few other choice adjectives Jameson uses. Look, that was really brave. But next time, leave the fighting to the pros, okay?
Okay, but what if there aren't any around?
Well, you can't just go swinging at someone twice your size. I mean, don't get me wrong. I fight guys stronger than me all the time, but when I do it, I have...
Oh, like that time you fought Rhino on the Brooklyn Bridge? That was so awesome.
Perfect example. If the other guy's bigger, you gotta be quicker. Okay?
Okay, but that's easy for you to say. Sorry, I just can't do what you do.
All right, put him up.
Seriously?
Yeah, come on. First thing, don't let the adrenaline get to you. Breathe slow, breathe deep, relax. Hip square to your opponent. Let them make the first move. Now use your feet, and when they go off balance, look for an opening. Boom.
Like that?
Yeah, that's it. Okay, only this time, just let me have it. Right on the jock, okay? I can...
Oh, sorry.
No. It's all good. You keep that up and you'll be fine. All right, lesson's over. Gotta go. Hey, thanks. You know, anytime.
Favorite cutscene of the entire game, period. And now we get more stealth gameplay. Great.
Just be careful. In the wrong hands, this could...
Don't worry, we're the best in the world.
Best in the world? Are you fucking serious? Throughout the course of the game, you've had an investigative journalist sneak by you with ease, and a 15-year-old kid was able to hack your unsecured drones and sneak by you as well. Best in the world, my ass. Man, these guys have got the aim of a stormtrooper, and they consider themselves the best in the world. Damn, what a shot.
Spider-Man, get clear. You are interfering in this operation.
Interfering? Lady, I'm trying to save this operation from the best in the world bozos.
What are you doing to me? Giving you a new perspective.
What the hell? I must be honest. I was hoping to bring you here. My abilities lend me a certain persuasiveness.
So I'm guessing this is supposed to be the game's version of Lee's corrupting touch, and nerd fact number 36, in the comics, Lee does not have to get you to turn to the dark side by persuading you. He can just turn you evil with his touch, but it only works once. I'll touch on this later as to why I don't like that he has to persuade people to turn.
Where is the serum?
I'm gone.
This Goya. So-called superhero. You think you save people, but you just make it worse. This is your fault.
Where the fuck was you? I didn't see you trying to do anything to stop the demons.
This Gaia microbe dispersal device releases specially formulated microbes into the atmosphere, and in turn, leaves our oceans and rivers cleaner than when man first walked the earth.
So not only did Oscorp make a bioweapon that could wipe out an entire city, but they also made a dispersal device that the Devil's Breath perfectly fits. And then they just left the dispersal device in a very public place. I actually don't hate this stealth section because it's kind of fun working with Spider-Man to take out the demons, but also when Spider-Man takes up the enemies to the ceiling, he then just kind of gives up on life and poofs out of existence, so there is no fucking way it would be this easy to disarm. Yeah, this is just another repetitive boss fight, but this is probably my favorite boss fight in the game. I just really like the quick reactions that is required, especially in the last phase, and it also just looks really cinematic because it's in this train.
No brakes? No problem. That totally worked last time.
There's your Spider-Man 2 reference.
Yuri, they still doing construction on 42nd and 1st?
Street's closed for another month. Why?
What if there were construction workers up there?
Where are the arms? Oh, wow.
Well, I am thoroughly terrified.
The people of New York will soon make a decision that could change the course of this city forever. So when you're casting your vote, remember what I've done. We are all safer now than we have ever been.
Liar!
This scene is the last shred of hope that we see for Otto when he removes the implant for Peter. It gets thrown away when he puts it back in and destroys the TV. At this point, we know for certain what path Otto is on.
The Devil's Breath is gone, but we got
Even bigger problems.
Rikers?
We have to hurry. Hop on.
What happened?
It was a coordinated attack. Must have been planned from the outside. Every cell block is breached. We're minutes away from every prisoner and Rikers walking right up 5th Avenue.
What about the raft?
Should be okay. It's a Supermax facility. Better security and a separate power grid.
Good. What about the Devil's Breath?
Sable's handling it.
Do you trust them?
Do I have a choice?
Well, they are the best in the world, so basically, we're all fucked. Have I ever mentioned that the cinematography is incredible in this game?
Could this get any worse?
Oh man, what a jinx.
Maybe it's not as bad as it looks.
Love the optimism. But in my experience, when it looks bad, it's usually worse. Look out!
Yuri, this is so your fault for jinxing us.
Come on, Spider-Man. I thought this was a chase.
I thought this was a chase, not a freaking walk in the park.
Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. 6! Holy shit, we got the freaking Sinister Six on our hands.
First and final warning. Stay out of our way.
Everything from the beginning of the game has been leading up to this point of friend turning to foe, and it has been perfectly crafted to take an old villain and change him for the better. Didn't we need a dispersal device for this to work before? Also, shouldn't you put on the gas mask before releasing the devil's breath?
The doctor said you still have 14 broken bones.
14 broken bones? Spider-Man is a badass.
Peter, fire and rescue's on the way. I found a fire escape that'll get me...
MJ, stay back. I don't want to have to rescue you too.
Peter, don't be crazy. Wait for help.
Wait, weren't you just about to go in with no help as well?
We're over here! I got you. Hang on! Hey man, you alright? Get to the window! It's too far. Hold on!
Just brace yourselves! Come on, you stupid piece of... Come on, May! I've got you! Oh my god!
Go! Go!
Miles! Come on! No!
A superhero. Or maybe I'm just a guy who doesn't give up.
We already knew that Otto was a genius, but getting to explore his lair just further shows it. We see how he has researched the members of the Sinister Six and found what they most desire, like getting Rhino out of his suit or curing Vulture of his cancer. Otto is truly brilliant. It would have been fun if each member of the Sinister Six had their own boss fight. However, since there were time constraints on Insomniac, I think this is definitely a fun alternative to have them in pairs.
Me, I'd end it now. But Octavius is paying, and he wants to torture you, which I respect.
Damn it! What did he inject me with? Whoa. What the...
Insert joke about how this is a copy of the Scarecrow sequences from the Arkham series here.
I can help you. It's a neural web. It's affecting your mind.
Spider-Man has always carried the weight of the world on his shoulders, and in this scene, it sounds like it's crushing him from his voice. Huge props to Yuri Lowenthal. Why am I getting instructions 9 hours into the game? A really small but really cool detail about this fight is that it seems like his spider sense is just constantly going off even if there's nothing to dodge. It shows how the toxin is messing with his powers and making him think that there's danger everywhere.
Oh,
let me go.
Oh, there.
I'm okay.
Didn't you tell me something once about accepting that I'm human just like everyone else?
You and Ben. Masters at turning my own words against me. I am fine, Peter. Just a little rundown.
So when Lee went all Mr. Negative on the city, Aunt May completely took over at Feast. Then when the Devil's Breath was released, she turned Feast into a help center for the infected while being infected by it as well. Yep, Aunt May is a badass. Yeah, you may think that having to hide from Rhino adds a new element to the stealth gameplay, but no, it doesn't. You just have to wait for him to look at a fucking wall and then walk past him. God, I fucking hate the stealth.
Haha, kid's got guts.
Hip squared.
The hell's he saying? Not gonna be saying anything in a second. Oh!
Whoa. You want a taste?
I love how the whole lesson from Spider-Man came full circle in this scene. Out of all the boss fights in the game, this is the one I have the biggest problem with because Spider-Man has never been able to beat Rhino with just brute strength. I think it would have been better if you had to trick Scorpion into hitting Rhino with some acid or something.
This can't be for Harry, can it?
So making Harry sick with the same thing that killed his mother gives a good reason why Norman was so adamant on making something like Devil's Breath, and makes players empathize with Norman for trying to save his son.
What is this?
And we are rolling. I will be right next door. Just relax and let the medicine do its work.
宝贝，不要担心，不要害怕，妈妈在。
这个会治好的，放心。
你在什么？发生了什么事？我操！别慢慢呼吸！靠！
I thought this was just a consultation. Hoisting ready. I'm going in there. No, you can't. It's too late. Make it stop.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say that these are the unethical experiments that Otto was talking about earlier. Gives Mr. Negative a perfectly logical reason for hating Norman, seeing as he is the one that gave him his powers that also killed his parents in the process. Okay, I like where this is going.
Open it.
Best in the world, by the way.
Fight it, Martin! You can walk away!
No! Osborn must suffer!
Bruh. I'd like to remind everybody that Doc Ock is just a normal guy. He doesn't have superpowers or anything, but he's still able to kick Spider-Man's ass because of how smart he is.
They say she could go at any moment. Where are you going?
I need to find Otto. He has the anti-serum. I don't know if I can beat him.
Maybe you can't. Maybe Spider-Man needs help from his friend Peter.
What?
Peter helped build those arms, remember? If anyone can find a weakness, it's him.
And suddenly, he is completely fine.
All right. No. No, that's not it. Maybe it's this one. No.
Alright, I like where this is going even more. It's a cool idea that he has to create a new suit to beat Otto, seeing as he does this a lot in the comics when he needs an edge up. Also, can I mention that the score in this game is just incredible. It has an Avengers-esque feel to it while still being its own thing. Excellent job. Yeah, I know that this is just another boring boss fight, but the build up to this fight between mentor and mentee has been so great that it makes me enjoy this fight.
Such a disappointment. Parker. You knew? I tried to warn you, Peter, but you didn't listen. You knew.
Oh, no fucking shit he knew. Peter, you dumb motherfucker. Love this fight on the side of the building. Both men are beaten and broken, but keep fighting. So much history and emotion between the two. You can really feel the stakes of this fight.
Do everything I can. I'll make sure you get the best help.
No! If they put me away, they'll take my arms. I'll be trapped in this useless body.
It is hard not to feel for Otto in this scene.
You're gonna be okay, ma'am. I've got the cure right here.
Take off your mask. I want to see my nephew.
Man, this line hit me hard. Learning that Aunt May has known this entire time that Peter is Spider-Man and didn't say anything. Really emotional line.
I don't know what to do.
Yes, you do.
And that right there is what it means to be Spider-Man. To choose to save millions over the life of one, even if that life means everything to him. I know Uncle Ben's words have become somewhat of a joke over the years, but they are true. With great power, there must also come great responsibility. Nerd fact number 50. In the main comics timeline, Aunt May has never really died. She's been close before, but never killed off. It's pretty ballsy of Insomniac to actually kill her off.
Only if you do.
I never stopped wanting to.
Me neither.
I think it's better that I just I show you.
No. It's pretty weird, right?
Not that weird.
Yes! Honestly, Miles is one of my favorite characters, and I've always wanted a story where Peter and Miles are permanent partners, and I think I'm actually gonna get that.
I love you, son.
Harry as Venom and Norman as Goblin for Spider-Man 2? A big idea in this game is duality. The duality between Peter Parker and Spider-Man, between Martin Lee the humanitarian and Mr. Negative the crime boss, between Otto Octavius, the guy that just wants to fix the world with his brilliance, and Doc Ock, the guy that just wants revenge. I mean, hell, even the duality between Norman Osborn, the greedy dickbag businessman, and the guy that just wants to save his son. During this game's development, it was said that this is as much a Spider-Man story as it is about Peter Parker and what happens when those two worlds collide, as they do so often in the comics. How this hero balances his two identities, his duality, is what brings about such interesting stories. Something that gets brought up in comics a lot is the idea of which face is real. Is it the man under the mask, or is it the mask itself? For a hero like Batman, a lot of the time the man under the mask, Bruce Wayne, is just a cover story for the mask, Batman. Batman doesn't really care what happens in Bruce Wayne's social life because Bruce Wayne only exists to keep Batman a secret. For the Wallcrawler, however, Peter Parker is as much who he is as Spider-Man is. The issue that Peter always faces is that Spider-Man will always take the front seat because of his responsibility to save people. But what if it didn't? What if the duality between the spider and the man didn't exist? What if it was just Peter Parker? Well, then maybe other dualities wouldn't exist as well. He could have been around more at the lab to notice what was happening to Otto and potentially stop the rise of Doc Ock. He could have helped at Feast more and noticed what Lee was planning and showed him that Mr. Negative was not the answer. A lot of people could have been saved if Spider-Man didn't exist. But how many more would have died if Spider-Man wasn't there to save them? Spider-Man will always be needed, and this game's story is a masterpiece in showing the cost of being Spider-Man. The financial troubles, the struggling relationships, the people forgotten, the broken friendships, the loved ones lost. Peter Parker and Spider-Man will never be able to perfectly coexist, and this story is one of the best examples at showcasing that. Throw on top of that an incredible movement system that makes me want to swing around for hours on end, and a combat system to rival and even supersede the Arkham series, and you've got one hell of a game on your hands. Even the stuff I didn't get to mention, the vibrant and alive recreation of New York City that itself is a character in the game. The sometimes tedious, but for me, fun side missions. The many alternate costumes with a different suit power for each. And the fantastic photo mode to take stunning pictures with. That's not to say the game isn't without its issues. I think I've gone on enough about my problems with the stealth and how it tends to break the flow of gameplay. I talked about Lee's corrupting touch before and how it wasn't the best way to handle it. Lee's corrupting touch could have been used to take over Spider-Man, and then MJ's and Miles' gameplay could have been figuring out how to take down an evil Spider-Man. It would have been interesting to see a world of superheroes through the eyes of a civilian in that situation and how they handle it. It could have also been an incredible boss fight if it was done in the right way. I don't think they should completely get rid of the MJ and Miles gameplay. However, Miles will probably be a playable spider in the next game, but if done right, it could be great. Act 2 of the story can be a little slow at times as well, because you just go to one random scientist to the next trying to find out more about Devil's Breath, and then at the end you just find that PowerPoint presentation that explains everything. It would have also been nice to get more character development for the Sinister Six than what we just got in Otto's lair, but I think that could have also taken away from Doc Ock and Mr. Negative. So with all that being said, is Marvel's Spider-Man a winner or a sinner? With a total win count of 140 and a total sin count of 70, Marvel's Spider-Man is a clear winner. As for the question of is this the best Spider-Man game, in my book, it has overtaken Ultimate Spider-Man and become my favorite Spider-Man game. So, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I have a lot of other games that I want to talk about, so subscribe if you want to see those videos.